So I feel like it's about time I asked yet another one of my random questions. And today's question is a simple one. Do you believe? Hey there friends, it's me Peter, and welcome to day 8 of my 25 Days of Christmas Reviews. When I was a child, there was one book that my parents would read to me every holiday season that I absolutely loved. And in 2004, Robert Zemeckis decided to make a feature film adaptation of this literary classic. Using Chris Van Allsburg's 1985 book, he directed The Polar Express. The movie begins with a young boy whose name we're actually never given throughout the movie. He no longer believes in Santa and just isn't really feeling in the Christmas mood because of it. However, Christmas Eve he falls asleep and is awoken by a train driving down his street. When he goes outside, the conductor tells him to get on board, otherwise they're going to be late. The train is known as the Polar Express, and it's going to the North Pole. While on the train, he meets several new friends, including a girl and a boy whose name we are also never given throughout the movie. The train ride is filled with adventure, including at one point dropping down a steep grade before finally arriving at the North Pole. Now everybody's excited about the North Pole, because that is where Santa Claus himself will give out the first gift of Christmas. I'll be honest with you guys, I delayed seeing this movie for a long time on purpose. You see, I loved this book as a child. I distinctly have memories of my mother sitting me in her lap and reading me this book every Christmas. And you know what? Not just every Christmas, it felt like all the time she read it to me. It was one of my favorite books, and I was really apprehensive about seeing this movie. So finally I decided, you know what? Forget it. Let's see this movie once and for all and see if it's actually good or if it's a terrible adaptation. And having seen it, I have to say it was really, really good. Like I said, I had my doubts about this movie. I didn't think it was gonna work, but you know, I really liked it. I thought the adaptation was handled very, very well, which is hard to do with a children's book, especially one that's, I think, just about 20 pages long, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. And quite honestly, there's not that much material in the book. It starts out with the little boy at home, getting on the Polar Express, going to the North Pole, and them having their little adventures. But this movie was able to expand on that. They were able to take the train ride and make it take up about 2/3 of the movie, actually. And you get to see, you know, what the train was like, you get to see their little adventures, you get to meet other people on the train. It's actually quite fun. Now, I like to think that the reason the adaptation was so good was because Chris Van Allsburg himself was actually an executive producer on this movie. It was interesting that they went with motion capture technology instead of actual animation or instead of live action, but I think it worked out. I really enjoyed this format. But having said that, that actually involves one of my very few flaws I have with this movie. Namely being, the motion capture really doesn't look good in a couple scenes. In particular, there's one scene at the North Pole where 3 of the kids are running, and the way they run looks really, really goofy in motion capture. I actually almost started laughing when I saw it. And maybe you could say the movie dragged on for a little too long. I mean, I get it. It's hard to make a book that's about 20 pages long into a full-length motion picture. And I think they got it about 90% right, but I think there are some parts they could have cut out, or some scenes that dragged on for too long that didn't really need to. But still, even with that, I have to say I really, really love this movie. I don't regret seeing it at all, and in fact, I would highly recommend it to anybody, especially those who are fans of the book. If I hop on the Polar Express and they tell me I can blow the whistle up to 5 times, I am going to blow that whistle 4 times. Thanks a lot for watching, my friends. If you enjoyed this Christmas review, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more Christmas reviews, simply click that subscribe button down below. Tune in tomorrow when I review yet another one of my absolute favorite Christmas classics. Until then, this is Peter saying see you later.